it's natural that other areas are going to start to lag as well. And that's a good thing because that actually exposes your weaknesses. That exposes the places where you need to improve next.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up? What is going on? How's everybody doing? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. The reason that I'm having this podcast or hosting this podcast, or the reason I started this podcast, I guess, is because I want to alleviate some of the pain for someone that's out there maybe suffering in silence, just doesn't really know how to start the conversation or who to talk to or, really find the words of what they're going through. And so that was kind of my main goal. If you're down with that message, you're probably going to like this podcast. If you hate that kind of message, if you hate that kind of topic of discussion, you're going to fucking want to listen to something else. And so welcome to Hey Mark. This is, like I said, the podcast where you're going to hear honest and authentic conversations like that. If you're interested in hearing more about it, please do subscribe, follow along the podcast, follow along this journey, and maybe refer it to a friend if you hear about, something that entertains you, makes you laugh, or just kind of, I guess, gives you a new perspective on how to deal with some of the problems that you're dealing with in life. What I wanted to talk about today is a point in your life that you might find yourself in. It's a point that I found myself in. It's a point that I see my friends consistently see themselves in as well. They reach out to me, or maybe you are sitting out there right now and you feel this way as well. And basically, I'll try my very best to describe this, but I haven't really found a term for it or a word for it. But say you find yourself in a position in your life where you've kind of either been consistently struggling or maybe stagnant in your life. You feel like you're working so hard, but nothing's ever really changing or improving in your life, and you just kind of feel stuck. So you sit down and you start to be a little bit more reflective, and you've kind of, listened to all these different online gurus. You get yourself a journal, you get yourself a piece of paper, or maybe you open a Word document on your computer, or you start writing in the notes in your phone, and you start thinking about who you are right now, and then you start thinking about who you want to be. And you maybe start to set goals for yourself. Maybe you have this, financial status that you want to get yourself to, or this certain physique that you want to achieve, or, what type of clothes you want to wear, or what kind of things you want to do for work, or what kind of friends you want to be surrounding yourself with, or what kind of foods you want to be eating on a daily basis, what kind of workouts you want to do, what kind of hobbies you're going to have. You start thinking about all these different things about how you're going to improve your life, all these books you're going to read, all these podcasts you're going to listen to, X, Y, and Z. And you start thinking about all of these different ways that you can improve your life, both actions, habits, and I guess also you could think of it as these images that you start to see yourself as, these ways that you want to kind of express yourself or find your true identity. And it starts to get a little bit overwhelming. It starts to get a little bit overbearing. You start to think about, I have all these things that I want to improve in my life, whether it's my physique, my nutrition, my relationships, my career, my financial situation, maybe just the way you speak to yourself. I'm talking about like that internal conversation that you have inside your head. You want to improve all of these things in your life. And you start to get to the point where you're like, how the fuck am I going to do all this? This doesn't even really seem achievable. There's all these things that I want to achieve, or all these things that I want to get to, these destinations, quote unquote destinations that you want to get to in life. But you never start to think about how are you going to start implementing these things. You're in this consistent pattern or process of just, thinking about how you're going to improve, or thinking about ways you could improve, but then you never actually start to address these problems. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And, in my personal opinion, there's been a lot of people that ask me, like, how do I kind of get myself out of this funk? And my answer has always been a little bit different. I've always kind of jumped around because I haven't really figured this out, but I think I'm starting to actually get this now. The thing that you have to do is really just one thing at a time. So say you need to start to, focus on improving all these different areas of your life. The best thing to do is start to tend to one thing at a time. And you're going to make that thing habit. Say you want to improve your relationships or your finances or your career or whatever it is, right? You pick one thing, you focus on your career or, whatever it is. I'm going to use the example of a career right now. And you want to start improving that thing. You want to start making more money maybe, or getting a little bit more responsibility, or just having people view you with a little bit more respect. Maybe you just want to be more comfortable at your job in the sense that you don't feel like you're good enough to be there. Maybe you have imposter syndrome, or you just always feel like you're lagging behind. There could be literally a million different things that you could do to improve in your life. So what you want to do is you want to start to focus on one thing. You want to start to focus on, one small area of your life, an area of your life that you want to improve, and you want to start focusing on it on a daily basis. Not get tunnel vision on it. You still need to do the other things in your life successfully, but you want to focus on improving that one thing one step at a time until it becomes natural, until it becomes habit, until it literally becomes something that you can do in your sleep. And then you move on to the next one. And you start to improve all of these little areas in your life one step at a time. It could be a little bit tricky, maybe focusing on what you want to focus on first. But that being said, you could start to do something, and if you realize you need to focus on one other thing before you get there, you could switch your focus later. But just try and stick to one thing at a time and start to improve that thing. Once you start to get better at it and it does become second nature for you, that improvement is now instilled in your life. And you can start to focus on, because this is another thing, and it's something you're going to have to understand. It took me a while to understand this, like I said. But once you start focusing a lot more of your attention and your efforts into one area of your life, it's natural that other areas are going to start to lag as well. And that's a good thing, because that actually exposes your weaknesses. That exposes the places where you need to improve next. So maybe you start focusing on your career a little bit more, but your relationships start to suffer as well. So then that's a pretty good indicator that, you need to next work on your relationships with people. You need to start working on how you treat people when you are stressed out, when you are anxious, when you are busy. Because there's always going to be things in your life that pull away from your attention, but you have to be able to still delegate that back to your relationships. So that includes your family members, your friends, your loved ones, your partner, whoever it may be. Even your relationships with your coworkers at your job that you're focusing on. But when you do focus on one thing and the other things start to lag, then that is a really good indicator of what you need to work on next, so that you'll be able to juggle all of these different things in your life a lot easier once you start to improve at each one of them individually. That's how we start to tackle large things in life, like transforming yourself or improving at anything. We break it down to a step-by-step basis and focus on one thing at a time. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, understand that that's normal, that's natural. That's how we all feel. But the one way to get out of that is to focus on one thing at a time and just work your ass off at it. So, like I said, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stressed out, or you're feeling like a little bit run down, just understand that this is completely normal and things will get better for you. It is going to be a lot of hard work, but you're fucking capable of doing it. So focus on one thing this week that you can improve in your life. And at the end of the week, if you feel like, you've started to drill this habit down, that's great. You can start to focus on something else. But if you feel like you still need to keep working at it, keep cracking at it, this could take weeks. It could take months, but it's definitely achievable. So go out and fucking kill it today. Kill it this whole week. Have the best month of your life. Have the best year of your life for the rest of the year. And if, like I said in the very beginning, if you enjoy this type of content, if you want to share it with a friend, I would really appreciate that. If it brought you a new perspective or just encouraged you a little bit or made you feel a little bit more normal with your situation. Understand, like I said multiple times, you're gonna fucking get through this shit. So keep fucking pushing. Just focus on one thing at a time and try not to get overwhelmed. And if you do, feel free to reach out to me. I'm actually developing a community right now based around mental health and self-development. So if you want to be a part of that community, reach out to me on Instagram If you're watching the YouTube version of this, it'll be at the bottom here. If you listen to the podcast, it'll be in the show notes. It's at Mark D. Henriksen on Instagram. If you reach out to me there, I'll let you know how you can join this private Facebook group and the WhatsApp group as well, and join the conversation, join the movement, because this is the type of conversations that we have on a daily basis. So thank you so much for everybody that supports this mission. Thank you so much for everybody that, listens and comments and DMs me and just reaches out and supports. Like I said, that shit means the world to me. You are the reason I do what I do. That's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope it brought you a new perspective, or like I said, just brought you a little bit of encouragement. Thank you so much. Much love and peace out. Let's fucking go, baby.